Okay, welcome to tonight's Board Oversight Committee. It is May 21st. We are going to start at 6:30. Ground rules, no one may speak until brought to the floor. CB11 members, if you have any questions about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait till you recognize. To raise your hand through Zoom, click the participants icon. You find the raise hand function there. Members should not engage in back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. Please keep your questions or comments brief and on topic to discussion. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment about the subject on the agenda, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. We're going to call to order the meeting. Let me have a vote for meeting.
Jose Alvarado,
Present.
Rosa Diaz, absent, David Giordano,
Present.
Yosa Orano, present, Russell Schiller,
Present.
Darius Sampone,
Present.
and Candy Jackson is absent. You have one.
Present. Good. Thank you.
And Denver, you have share of the, committee board 11 is present.
She did. Oh, she did. I think I do. What's the name? Okay, let's sort that out. Okay, so we're adopting tonight's agenda, approving the minutes. Usually we do this by omission. Anyone against? No? Okay, great. Do we have any informational updates, any announcements? Rosa's not here. Usually she's our star at announcements. Any? No? Okay. We're gonna go right into the work. Arlene, could you put up the attendance? See if anyone's called into the category of
Recording.
That's it.
Give me a minute. I didn't know that I had a few.
No worries. Take it. Yeah, you know.
We aren't gonna get on this.
I'll just check it out. There's no one.
Okay.
On your phone, it doesn't allow you to silence it altogether. On the laptop, you can do it. It's happened to me before. Tried. It was like, it doesn't allows you to go all the way down, but you still hear it.
Thank you. Do you want the full board time? I'm just trying to understand. What do you
We're
want to
gonna
see?
go full
Mhm.
board and then we go committee by
Okay.
committee to see if anyone has thoughts on there. It would be all of their committees, right? 2/3 of their committees, or it would be full board, either or will trigger. So you saying you're reading this, so kind of just do this. I know that Jessica Morris Smith, the fifth one, but she's already been brought up by us last month. I think that's going to executive.
And that's the last one that'll go there. That was miscommunication, so the executive will address that and moving forward, that'll be you guys.
Carolyn Percy is no longer on the board, correct?
Is there a way for them to all see? Cause I don't think they can see the end, right?
Yeah, I'm seeing it here.
Like the total miss is being blocked. Can we like just, can you minimize it?
Yeah,
Ethan?
no problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it here. See it there.
Yeah,
Beautiful, thank you.
Can you scroll it slightly to the right?
I'm doing that on this screen.
Battery Ponte has 4 for full board. Is she still on the?
I believe she didn't reapply.
Was that term, oh, she had to reapply?
Yeah, I don't think she did. So I would just put that on ice till we find out early next week.
They haven't,
They're gonna announce them next week, but they kind of made me aware of who they're gonna apply.
Okay, so let's see, and we'll do committee for committee bylaws, no one seems to have met the threshold.
worse.
You're going to the bylaws tab now?
Uh-huh. We're going with bylaws, so let's go forward to district needs. No one in district needs, Echo Dev. We have two people. Who is this? Karen Percy's no longer here, and this second one. Benny Torres, so we have Benny and Echo. We have to see if he's also missing at other committees.
Well,
Why are those people? in-
Why is he absent
yeah,
yesterday?
he was, the
present.
meeting started late because they didn't have quorum, so that would count him as present. What are the rules exactly?
It's 30 minutes after the meeting starts.
And we'll count the meeting as starting when everyone's there, quorum. That's what my interpretation.
That is correct.
Okay, then he would have been present yesterday.
So then we can fix that and we can take that.
So yeah, he would be still at 3.
The other person is no longer on the board. We do have 3 people on that committee that are very close to the threshold.
And be mindful that come September,
Marie.
3 will be the problem.
And Marie Nye and Jason. I don't know why. We gotta figure out a better way to do this. If people are removed from the board, they shouldn't. Jason Wu's been removed for months.
We can just do it also.
Yeah, it just shouldn't be
Right.
there anymore. Elections doesn't matter, environmental. Fernando,
Fernando's no longer on that committee.
okay, so then there goes that. Samantha Pedrero has 4.
Marina's not on the board.
Curiosity, why do we have some of those names here, right? You know, all the way to the left.
Oh, public member.
Public members.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I didn't know until I started putting them on.
I know just because of names, I'm like, oh,
It's not even getting, you don't know, you ask.
I am very,
That's us
about
next
that.
year.
Or,
I think we gotta wait 2 years. No, we can
No.
join my,
no,
2 years,
I need
full
to join my
term.
board and the committee of the problem.
no, they could be a public member right
So
away.
environment, we have Samantha.
name correct?
1L, 1L.
One now.
I know that.
Okay,
Yeah, well now,
No.
we'll make a note.
My mother.
maybe have it right here.
Yeah, check out that.
So this.
Let's go on to executive. I want a threshold there.
I just made sure.
Not read yet. It's okay, I'm not worried. I gotta have 2/3 of committees. So the tier 3, I should be all right.
Hey, just leave me alone there.
Housing, we have someone with 5 absences, John Green.
I don't believe he reapplied either.
Yeah, I got one now.
I'm just letting you guys know so that we don't have to, we can wait and see.
Wilfredo Lopez is no
He's
longer
I took
there.
him out.
Jessica Morris, there, she's already been brought up. Don Sanders is there. We'll have to see if Don is also in the other, and again, Jason Wu, but that's already,
I thought he was,
he's been removed. If we have to figure a better way to, when they remove themselves, he should be removed from there. Even if we keep them at a previous, another,
somewhere, yeah,
Somewhere.
keep the record.
Yeah, like a separate sheet.
we should have like an active attendance list, only people.
So like what we do sometimes, just like, cause I have kids that drop in the middle, we just shade them. Then they know they
Yes.
shaded through the year, and then they don't.
That could be an
And
easy
now
way.
remove them so that it still shows their attendance throughout the program.
That's probably the same concept here, so we'll talk to Angel about shading.
Yeah, the way we color code public members, we shade those.
Yeah, the same way. They're no longer, that's why I thought the red was maybe somebody that was on the drop.
Human services looking good, other than Robert Brum's not on the board anymore. Land use is also fine. We would have had 3, but again, we'll reach out, Nye, Candy, and Vinny, but those are for next, for next quarter's term, so we'll start at the 3. Licensing. Marie Charles is not there anymore.
No, she is.
Is there?
Yep.
Okay, then she's got a 5. I don't know what else does she sit on?
Housing?
Let's see. Well, then she was good in.
What is
was good
she
in
at there though? How many?
I didn't have anyone, only Dawn was at housing. So she was fine in housing.
Yeah.
And let me go back and check.
Just she might not be red, but is she at 3 or 2?
Let's see. She's a 3.
Oh, that's a problem.
She's on the side. So we'll have a conversation with her.
I'll let her know.
Let's see, we have a 4, Carlos Diaz. Carlos is fine on his other one. Judith Fabrero has 5.
Yep.
And she's not in red. She should be in red. She's a
Yeah,
public
she's a
Public
member.
member. That's gonna.
Ryan Fox no longer there, and we had 2 3s, which were what is this? James Gray's out of 3, and Anne Marie.
That's a big thing.
Too big.
Okay, board oversight. Loan stuff.
I hope not.
So, just on there, looks like. Okay. Current person still on the board?
Nope.
Okay, Valerie Ponte is no longer. Something, we're making a mistake, because we're looking at since September. Okay, so if I look at the last 6 months,
Well, yes and no, because if we're going to go strictly on the old way we did it, we just look at this as it is. The last 6 months thing was
You don't have to pick 6 months. You could go to September, but you'd have to do.
6, right? Yeah. Before we, correct me if I'm wrong, but before we started looking into this, this just was looked at as a whole. And if it was red, you were in trouble, and if it was not red, you weren't. So, and that's been
done correctly.
and it has not been done correctly. My understanding was that we were gonna ride this out till the end of, and start in September completely in the rules. I don't care what we do, but I don't know if then we're completely aligned on what we were doing. Because I was on the impression that we were keeping things as they were until September.
and we're gonna follow that.
Well, no, I mean, I don't have a,
Well,
I think we gotta all be on the same page.
Which is who would be added.
Right, that's what they said, right?
I think, are we all in favor of we will continue to do it this way, and then September, look at the last 6 months?
Right, so, I mean, that was a rolling year. The one is a rolling.
In September to now. Okay, so we're all good with that.
Because we didn't meet during the summer, right? And did we meet last in July?
Public safety, we have Charlie.
I'm around.
You go into September for those 6 months.
It would be, going to September is our entire term, which is, so us to, 10 months, is it? 9 months? 10 really. Because we're in May, so it would be 9 just because we're in May. All right, and then we have Wanda Hopkins, is that 4? And the other 2 individuals are already gone. Okay. Youth and education. John Green again is there, and Jessica Morris, and she's gonna be brought up to executive. We'll have to. Pizza John, I don't think John.
I believe he did not reapply.
And so Second Avenue Subway has not met enough to hit any threshold, so. We met in March and April, and it was a pretty good attendance overall. We haven't had an issue with quorum. All right, so overall, we're looking pretty good. Anyone have any concerns or questions? Go ahead.
So last month we had talked about those bylaw revisions. One of the ones was around committee attendance, and we decided to not move that one forward. After that meeting, I went back and, I read what was already there. And I think that maybe we don't need to change it. We have to just interpret it the way that it maybe always should have been. The current bylaw says shall attend thirds of the total number of all meetings, all committees, of which such a member is a member in any 6-month period. If we do want to edit the part about any 6 month, I think we should not be able to say we can pick and choose.
The last 6 months were not, there was a meeting.
But I think can be interpreted to mean it's a committee you were on.
Are you
Whether
sure we
you came
discussed
along.
that here and not in executive?
It was an executive, but I mean, you guys, it touches on this purview.
I think you're right.
It
I
was.
think there's a lot of people that are the same, so I think it's a little
A lot of us sit, but we have to remember that here, we don't do, well, we can discuss it. I don't
Yeah, you
have to
can-
discuss it. Just remember that it will be an executive
right.
where that. will
Right,
come from.
so I guess my point is like, if we look at how the bylaw is currently written, that we would be charged to follow. That if we're saying whether you are currently on the committee, on a particular committee or not on that committee anymore, whether you're on 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the number is, that we're gonna add it all up. We're gonna count in the 6 months,
And
how many meetings should you have been at?
Yeah.
How many meetings were you actually at? And if that number falls at the threshold, then we don't have to worry about, oh, well, they're 2/3 of one, but not the other. They missed everything of one meeting, of one committee, and partially showed up to the
So
other.
you're taking the
It's a
cumulative,
cumulative, it's
the cumulative average for all the
of
committees.
all of that.
you
As
attended.
As opposed to,
Right now, we're saying, okay, we're checking each one of your committees. So
no, but
saying, are
we're
you
still
on-
adding them together. It's still cumulative.
No, because you're saying, oh, they hit the threshold.
No.
and
Because
missed
we
one,
have to go
but they
committee
didn't
by
hit the
committee.
threshold.
We have to go to committee by committee, because it's the same thing.
No, we don't.
No, so.
Because it's the
I know.
total number of
Okay,
all
But
meetings.
for
of
example,
all
I know, Derek, but listen, if
I see what you're
if one
saying.
person's in 3 committees
committees.
and they did good in 2, right? So 2 are good and 1 is bad. Cumulatively, it's the same thing, like you wouldn't.
But let's say you're on 2.
Okay.
And they each meet, say, 8 times. And you're good on one, but you missed all 8 on the other, Derek's saying you'd get voted off. And our current procedures would say, no, you're not, because you're not good, you're not bad on both. And the bylaws, another thing we've been doing wrong, says it's the total meetings.
Right.
So it should just be like, if you had 16 committee meetings,
Right.
you need to be at 2/3. Right now, we're being like, no, you really don't have to be at 2/3 of your meetings as long as you're good on one committee.
And that's wrong.
But
And
that's,
we're not following the bylaw.
We aren't.
that is correct, but we know this.
Right.
We know this.
And that was gonna change in September.
But we have told the body that we will follow this wrong way of doing it until September.
Just to give everyone.
Because we're giving
Right.
everyone
He doesn't.
a heads up. I agree with what, now I understand and I agree with you.
Yeah.
But just remember that
Would that change somebody from coming or not coming? See, I think again, you know what DOH taught us? Once you learn something, you can't unlearn something.
Mhm.
So if we're doing something wrong,
Gotta fix it.
what is the justification to continue to do it?
to give people time to adjust.
We're gonna continue to do something wrong when we know something's wrong. It's hard for me to say, yeah, we're gonna do that.
See everyone in the 3s, the yellow?
I'm not talking irrelevant to any specific or number.
I understand.
The bylaws say we're doing this. We've done it wrong. We now know that we should correct it. And it's our job to correct it next month.
I'm gonna remind you, David,
I'm just
that
saying.
this committee, but no, wait, let me
Whether
speak.
it's
I understand,
executive-
no,
I'm not getting into
I understand,
semantics.
but let me speak. It's not semantics. This committee made that decision. This committee I believe you've probably forgotten that,
Probably I
because you said,
misunderstood, or-
yeah, you made the vote. So this committee made the vote of that grace period. This is not an arbitrary decision that was made. This committee, when we started this process, made that decision and we took a vote on it. And that's why we're waiting until September to do it, to give people time to acclimate, because it wasn't done correctly. Russell?
So the answer what I'm hearing, so if things were done incorrectly, I would think at the beginning of a cycle, which we're attempting to do, at the beginning of that cycle, then the rules go into doing what's correct. So when we talk about the rules that are there, we should not be mindful of who, because of the rules changed for those that were existing, they changed. We're talking about, can you, or you must follow the rules. So it's not that you dissuade somebody from not coming. If that's the bottom line, then they just can't participate because they can't make the rules. But it has to be a beginning, and the beginning point is not in the middle. It should be, an ending point, in my opinion, should start in the beginning, where everybody starts at the same time. And then everybody's impacted by the rules and those things that they are learned behaviors that can be unlearned to go correctly.
I think that's why the committee had decided to pick September, which is our beginning of the term. Nilsa?
So I just wanna verify, I remember everything you're saying, but now that the Manhattan Borough president is putting in, does technically the term start in September, or does technically the term starts at the appointment of the new people?
Technically, it starts in June, right now, because that's when they're being appointed. But it's hard for us to rely on their time frame because they're always doing it
But
differently.
no, see, I have to be careful with that one, because when they said that we get turned, let's say they don't appoint people next year in timely, we're off.
March 31st.
It doesn't matter.
Well, there's what, the
No, no,
60
but-
days and then you're.
Right, but then we're off,
Yeah.
right? Whether they've appointed somebody new or not. So we have new people starting now, June.
Late.
No, I know, again, but they don't really officially, it still goes back to that May date. Like, I was reappointed late. I don't go to the date I was reappointed. I'm going to the date that's set up as the end date.
Yeah.
So maybe we should relook at September and begin now with new people. So we're educating new people on what the new rule is or the correct rule, then to continue to teach somebody what's wrong and then go, oh, well, you told me this when I had orientation, and
Oh, so
you
yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
I understand 100%. I agree,
I
but
agree with you in principle, a million.
we have to remember that in June, they're gonna start in June, and they shouldn't be starting that late. That's a different issue, but we would not, this is for the people that were already in the board. This
Right.
would not qualify for them, because
Right.
regardless, in
But like the
September,
same way
in
that
September,
the people
everyone's.
saying, nah, forget it,
And
they're not coming back.
And we decided to do this because remember, we were talking about doing different tiers and you brought up that that's not right. It should be a process for everyone. And that's why we decided to do just September, because initially we were going to do one tier for people that have been here longer and a different tier. And you brought up the point, which is a valid point, which is it should be across. And that's why this committee decided we're gonna start September going forward and then have everyone very monitored. You're gonna let him talk first anyway, so.
I think
It's a workout.
it's a good point about like the logistics of this, because if it's September, let's say September has gone by, we've had a full round of, committees have met once, full board has met once. Now we're sitting at this table in October to discuss attendance, right? Well, the previous 6 months of meetings would be September plus 5 months of this. So we've gotta have a system, like, we could say, it resets every September. And then we don't have our first attendance conversation until, what would that be, like, December? But if we're saying it's the 6 previous months of meetings held, which could include the summer or not,
That committee.
we're gonna have to keep that running count, knowing.
That's why it's always been there
Right.
every year.
Right,
It's always-
and
yeah.
that's the other thing to keep in mind is like the keeping track of it all, knowing that people are on committees, they're off committees, they're on this one, that one. So,
You know,
But
that's
I think the bylaw that was put in place was the last 6 months. That was that,
That's
so
what it
that,
currently-
so that will, no, it's not. It's
well,
not currently. Cause the change was from any.
Because
6 months.
technically you could
For the
go
last
back to
6
3 years
Yeah,
ago and talk.
but I thought it was only, I mean, I thought you always looking backwards as opposed to, like, I'm gonna go back 3 years.
But let's
No,
say I
you're
didn't
right,
like
but
someone,
You could do it.
I could choose to do, and I knew their attendance was bad from September to like, I could choose.
You know, it's funny, it almost is like,
Weird, which
you're
we never
end up on the year when we're appointed. And that begins the clock. And so when I get appointed in 2 years later, how many meetings should I attend? Just technically, based on, you know, it's like, we're making up this moving thing, this and that. It's like there's a period of time, you said it, beginning and end.
Right.
We begin a term at this point, and that's the running clock.
Well, you'll always run
Right,
into,
because you may have an extra meeting in July, we may not,
That adds up.
right?
Might
We
just
already
be,
went through that.
might be
right?
executive.
members get put in midterms too. They put people
So
in
from
random.
that-
But that's the anomaly.
It'll be, everybody's gonna have their 6 months, whatever the 6 months are. You know, look, here, I agree with you, right? In what other thing do you know you're doing it wrong and you keep doing it wrong? But, you know, community boards seem to be a unicorn of rules. I think the worry we all had was if we just changed it, people were gonna be ready to be voted off that never had a warning that we changed it, right? That was the fear we had. I think when you guys wrap this up, because there are people, it's coming,
That will be.
that are gonna be, we're gonna have, September's gonna be an interesting month, I'll say the least, but comes to the next discussion, then, that talk about a probationary period. I have ideas and I've had discussion. I think we should have that conversation briefly when we're done with this, because that is the next step. And if come September, we're going, if we're gonna do that, we need it in place.
You know what would be interesting to look at? I don't mean, how many people missed that first meeting when they first joined?
Good question.
Probably the majority.
Because they probably didn't even know.
Right, no, I'm saying, I see it like Fernando, right? I said, yo, the boy, he's like, oh, I don't even know yet. Yo, we did, you have to.
And you knew him to tell him.
Well, by September, they knew. So that's why I think September we start fresh and mindful, this committee won't be just to like tell them, we're gonna vote you off. I believe starting September, this committee, we're gonna watch them. We're gonna watch them September, October. You missed 2 meetings. By the way, if you miss a third, you're gonna be brought up. We're gonna start holding these people, like the secretary does their job, but I think this committee will take an active role in that as we're meeting and just sending a little email, hey, and we can have these discussions so that we can choose between members, like, oh, I'm close with this person, just have that discussion so that this person is aware and like, because it has made a difference. Me and them have been doing the, hey, you're on a threshold, you need to attend, and they've made the extra effort and it's shown that it is successful in that regard. But I don't think like we go in September, we vote everyone. I think it's more like we're starting fresh. We'll see how it goes. But you hit 2 meetings and it's a problem. Because when you get to that third, you're already considered, the 2/3 is applying to you. You can't miss. People have to understand they cannot miss more than 2 meetings in a 6-month period. It's just that very simple. And as long as we do that kind of moving forward, we should be fine. Like, it's a very fair process. Like, before we were counting the 4th one, that was our issue. But it's 2/3 present, so you should have been at 4. There we go. Nothing.
I know that this office, when new board members are put on, do extensive outreach to the new members. And the new members that say they didn't know was because they didn't calendar it in a lot of instances or realize that it was a mandatory meeting. So the only point that I'm bringing up is that as we're looking and talking about September, they are mandated to be here in June. And that is part of their attendance, whether you want to go back in September, starting in September, but they, the new people, have to be here in June and have to be here in July.
But that means
Because
they
that
need
is
to
part
be
of their
informed.
attendance.
And that
And the board
means,
does do that, the office does do that, but now with board oversight, I would assume that we also are gonna take.
But to
So that's support.
David's point, this is the issue. We are now on May 21st. This board, this office does not know who
No,
is currently.
nobody does.
So what happens is,
Stop there.
you're supposed to know, if I'm a new member and I haven't even been told yet, and I get told June 1st, by the way, you had a meeting yesterday. and
But
you had a
I
meeting
planned my
Right, but the
vacation,
Manhattan
because
president.
this is the only
said
time I can
about
go
that
away, and I didn't know what.
And I didn't even know, like, I like to plan things in advance.
But that's why this is an
So,
issue, that the Manhattan Borough president doesn't give us the names before they send the letter, so that we can then send them a calendar.
They don't even
Maybe
know.
we reach it out before they get officially known.
At the same time, no, at the same time, so that when you know that you have and they mailed out the letter,
Or
right?
maybe the letter
Then
should come with
they
the
have to-
calendar of the meeting for
It
the
should.
month.
it should.
And-
That's
and
the
say
communication we
Exactly
make.
what I was thinking when you said.
What we have to
Like,
say,
hey, you've been selected, this is your community board, this is their calendar, and
Tell them, tell
you're
them.
expected to attend the full board meeting for that.
I'll tell for fair, and that is David's idea.
what we have to admit, and then Russell speak, is that the borough presidents have been doing a terrible job in this particular point.
And this
And
was a new
obviously,
one.
this is new, so like, we have to give them some, but moving forward, we're going to push this, and we should actually send them a letter from this committee regards to like, if our terms end March 31st,
Right.
they should know already by then. They should know. People should be aware. And it is ridiculous that we're like, end of May, no one knows nothing. We
Well,
just had a,
even
we
with
had a phone call.
application-
we had a phone
applications
call
used to
last
come out
week.
End of November, December.
We almost didn't have.
We almost,
We had to push for it.
So they used to come out a lot earlier, even applications.
and it's constantly being pushed down the
Pushed back.
line.
We had to push to get a phone call this time around. And then they just gave us names, like as if we're gonna know with like 100,000 people, like 11, and like, no,
No
the meeting, like,
resumes,
we
no
do not know these
background,
people.
no, you're like, kind of like,
Well, they should give you that application.
They didn't send it.
They just gave us we had to like take notes quickly, is what they told us.
so,
So my
Russell, and then
take-
we're gonna move forward.
For me, it's always confusing because how is it from the council person and from the borough president's
Right, they
office
select.
on how. Right, let me correct. No, it's weird.
Take your time.
No, when David says something, this made me, then I think of something, what I'm thinking. We're talking about an end date for the older existing ones have to leave the 31st or whatever. So when the new appointees by the borough president's office and they combine, if one has to come here, I mean, I don't remember what I got when it says how many mandatory, when does it start? If we're hearing the first time, when is my attendance first taken? When I'm accepted to the board? When is it coordinated with the district or with the office that I'm now on the board? When am I informed, when my first meeting I'm supposed to be at? What did the borough president's office say, how many meetings I'm supposed to attend a year? And when does that year start? Because I never knew about the summer. So if I'm coming in June,
He never told me.
of June, and then I'm thinking it's from September on, and people I'm missing in June, in July, because I never knew it was summer months required to meet.
It's not required.
That's what I'm saying. So when we talk about calculating an account,
That's the other thing that we should speak about, right?
So-
And technically, they say that your commitment is 10 months.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that we have that.
But sometimes we have,
No. It says that the board doesn't always meet in the summer,
No.
and if it does meet, you're required to meet.
and you're required to be there.
Okay,
Right,
so
so
that-
that, I agree, it's a
So we have to,
communication.
there has to be, if
I think once.
if it is,
I think
it has to be
it was
clear, that's what it is.
The expectation is
Did you learn?
June and July if the board meets, and technically, usually you can be off in August. And the committees can meet for executive and do work, and it can be ratified in September in the absence of a full board meeting.
I remember meeting,
We used to do the meetings. with
Once
the
in August,
agents
but you
in the
learn.
summer.
but you learn.
We're gonna do
Right.
And that's
Budget.
when-
You know, like, yeah,
Yeah.
we used to meet
It's
together in the
all-
summer.
Well, and the chair can call a meeting at any time, and that's a required
That's
meeting.
special
too.
meeting.
Yeah, I'm not saying otherwise, but what I'm saying is like, when you first get appointed, it's hard, because you don't even know if you're making this commitment, right? And once that happens, then obviously we made the commitment and we have to be held
I think
accountable.
you should make that suggestion, that when they send out the
I think
letters,
it's a great
they say
idea.
the calendar, because they have our calendar.
I will send an email tonight.
It has to be clearly stated, for me, I would.
Must attend.
Yes.
I'll email them right now.
It's not, may not happen, but it is called, you're required to be there in attendance, so we will know.
Now, we spoke before about the probation period, we were all in favor of it. Is this something that we wanna send as a recommendation to the executive committee so they can,
Would that have to be part of bylaws?
it would be a bylaw? So that's why we're saying, but we can send it from here to forward to.
Basically, write it. So we can just-
Right.
Write it.
So. I don't know. This group and then executive and obviously the full board, when you talk about it, it needs to be a bylaws then. I don't know if it necessarily has to be. Right, it's comes down to what is the language of the resolution that goes with someone being on probation. So the idea is, or an idea would be, the resolution is, you know, so-and-so had failed to attend these committees on these dates, or the full board on these dates. They have satisfied the removal thresholds. They came in for due process. They gave these reasons. The board oversight committee recommends either like removal or this recommendation of probation, and then spelling out what probation means. Probation means we're deferring your removal until 6 months from now. And if you do this, we don't remove you, meaning showing up. And if you don't show up, then we've already voted to remove. I think putting some stuff in the bylaws, I'm not saying that's a bad idea, but I think really we could probably do it through whatever the resolution that goes with our recommendation that spells it all out. And basically what we're saying is we're voting to remove you, but we're gonna wait 6 months to actually take you off. And we've spelled out the terms and conditions of what you as a member on probation have to do so that we won't remove you.
Yeah,
I would only say maybe not 6 months if we do decide that. I'm not saying I'm necessarily for it against it, but I think if we do that, I think, 6 months is a long time for somebody whose attendance has been bad to continue to affect committee. 3 months, get your stuff together. You're talking about.
You have to remember though, when they hit the threshold again,
They're just
so
not-
let's say the first.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm saying.
They miss
somebody-
out the first 3 months, we don't have to wait 3. So,
Oh, okay, but
it's
then
within-
we
it's-
leave a 6 month.
cause it's a 6-month period, just, cause
Right.
we're using 6 months
Probation
consistently.
is always less than a year of the evaluation, right? You don't get a year probation period in your next evaluation.
Because David, what if they're good for 3 months and then they're bad, and then like they start going bad again?
Well, actually, I have answers to all these questions. I thought about this long ago. I think it lines up with everything we're saying. So you can go 6 months, and then to solve your worry, which I have as well, you make the probationary period stricter than the regular attendance rules. So right now, it's no less than 2/3. We changed theirs to you must be at more than 2/3. Let's just go on numbers to make sense for a second. So 6 months, let's say committee meets 6 times. Under this new rule, if you miss 3, well, no, like, let's just say September, October, November, like, just pick 6 to make it easy for me. 'Cause 6, right now, with the new one, right, if you miss 3, you're off. During the probationary period, let's make it 2. Right now, if you miss 3 full boards in 6 months, you'd be off. If you're in probation, let's make it 2.
So we're not gonna wait.
We're gonna make it stricter, and you're off immediately. We don't wait the 6 months. Yeah, you're off. And then the other part, which goes to I think the longer
And
term,
it could be for the rest of their appointment.
if we take the motion the right way and lay out the due process from the start, then we can make the due process, in my opinion, that this is the vote. Now, at any point in your next 6 years or 5 years, you hit it, you're off. This vote gave you probation and said that you violate this, this was your due
No, you
process.
gotta be able to come out of probation. I
Yeah,
got good for
you
2
can't be
years.
in probation
You
forever.
can't ride bad like that. I mean, again, life circumstances happen to you.
Maybe a year, I would say, but
I
not
think
4 or 5 years.
I
maybe.
go back to a person and say, look, you see,
Would you get redeemed after you?
Of their-
Yeah.
Redeemed.
Could be that term.
Yeah, but 2-year term, so you're on, you go bad, you fix probation, and then you go bad again, and then you go bad,
Go back to the severe.
hold on a second, though, you go bad at the end of your 2nd year, and then you're gonna go, it finishes out the term, then they're gonna get a reset, even if they've been terrible towards the end of that
But they
term.
should not get reappointed, and that was the part of the
Exactly.
conversation we had is, and if there's, how many people applied for the 11th position?
They make it 4 years, 2
20,
terms.
right? Like, we gotta get the pipeline, so there's just better people to come in and replace the person at them who doesn't wanna take the commitment seriously, cause I'm with you, why should that person, if you've been on probation and then you come close to violating it again, what do you do?
Right, well,
again?
how you being reappointed?
But that's not
But it happens.
us.
But they're not gonna do it.
No,
That's
we
not
never-
us.
We can't because I've asked, been told they ain't gonna do anything.
Right.
That's
But
why
that's
we're
when there's-
discussing
When
this.
there's 20
Can we come to, okay, can we come to a compromise, 4 years?
Or,
But you're assuming that the person will keep getting.
Then if they don't, then it doesn't
So
count, it's
then-
only if you stayed, if you leave, who cares what you do? If you're not reappointed, who cares? Our concern is about the people who are gonna stay and continue to be a problem. So if you don't stay, the rule doesn't apply to you, but if you do stay, then this is what you're subjected to. I agree that, okay, 8's a stretch, but
Well, what if you say?
Like,
That's our whole
It's like your whole term.
What if you say
hey, I mean, we're all
something,
gonna be gone.
if you say something like, you know, you're giving them this, I'll use the word pass.
that's,
You're giving them this pass
Right,
so that then they can do it again. Should they do it again, it's an automatic expulsion.
That's what we're talking about.
yes.
But it's not, I wouldn't put, like, at the end of your term, I wouldn't put that you gotta be clear for this amount of time.
I'm in
I wouldn't put
perpetuity.
that. But exactly, because when you start to, then you gotta figure out, okay, is it 4 years, is it 2 years, is it till the end of the term? If you should come back on because of an attendance issue, this, you know, you will automatically be.
I mean, your language
Which is
should be
what he's
easier.
saying.
You could just say like, if you've had
But
probation
it is
before and
Yeah.
you're, if you have a second probation period, then it should be,
or we can.
You will transition to a public member,
We
or
can-
something like that.
I think we should.
and that way you don't even put a
Discretion,
time period on
Right, we can keep the
Yeah.
discretion. But
That's
then
what
we would
kills
say-
us.
No, but we would say, but then because it'll be this group, right? And in
Won't
theory,
be
it's gonna be
this
stronger.
group.
But it simply would be like, one of the things considered in your due process is, have you been on probation before?
Right.
Right, probation isn't automatic. Don't consider the circumstances. But one of them ought to be, have you been on probation before? And then this group, hopefully, and if I'm a part of it, I know I will, is if we gave you probation and you violated it, or you were okay and then you did it again, that we should put it up to the vote of, okay, now you're being removed.
How about this? I hear you. I agree. I do like discretion when it's not always gonna be the same bad decision when you give people discretion, right? Discretion means you should sometimes make a little bit of both decisions, which, you know, the board historically has not been able to do, regardless of who's been here. Because they would put it in bad positions, I think, right? We become friends and we don't, you know, we know the reasons. I think all this seems more complicated in our head because we're trying to juggle the math of members, but we have these great spreadsheets, right? So we don't have to do that. So why can't, everything can be tied to that member, right? Like, you know, if you were appointed in May, then your last 6 months are from there. If you were appointed here. So we could set a concrete number. If 8 years is crazy, it could be like, should you pass probation? You know, should you not violate probation, then for the next 24 months, if you're on the board, if you're not on the board, who cares? You're gone. For the next 24 months, should you violate it, you will not be given probation. You come out of the 24 months, you get your probation again, you get your chance again. That's just an idea, because I agree with you about discretion. I agree with you about the people at this table, but we can't write rules thinking that it's gonna be us at this table, right? It's gonna be different people, and we don't know what they're gonna do.
At the end of
I
the day.
have an easier way.
vote.
What if you only get 2 probation periods
That's it.
in your terms? So if you're here at 2 years, 3 years, 6 years, so in 8 years,
You know, again, we have to be careful, or legal at least to get them.
we would ask,
Right?
we would just ask.
We could clarify all that.
But in the end, then,
We're
we
just asking.
still would have to.
And then you would get, everyone gets 2.
Right, whether
You don't
we're
get a
giving
third.
someone probation or
Third
not,
week.
it's still gonna require a vote
I don't want
of
to.
resolution.
I don't know.
The first.
That we've been here 16, 17 years.
We have to get one something saying.
No, but what
you
I'm
only
saying
get
is,
one probation, and these are the conditions that trigger the automatic removal.
Well, no one can be here more than 8 years. So we give
Right.
two probation
What I would
periods
say,
within
4
that
years.
8 year. I understand, but we give them 2 probation periods. You can only have 2 probation periods.
during the term.
How you use them is up to you. You wanna use them all in the beginning?
You still have to vote.
That's fine.
The official way anyway.
Yeah.
No,
No?
No, it would be automatic. It
You
would
give
be automatic.
probation and they fail it,
No,
they're off.
Yeah.
You're right, David.
We are,
Legal says-
at full board, yes, because at full board, we are voting on it
That's all.
to give them probation. So
Right,
that's what makes
yeah,
it,
Gotcha.
that's what
We're
makes it.
never voting anyone off was the idea, so we're never bad guys. Well, it's automatic.
No,
So
there
there's some
be-
a suggestion for them to adhere to?
So when we vote someone off currently, we send a letter to the member and to the borough president, and
That's
it's
it.
done, and then they enforce it. So if it's probation, if the vote would be to give probation with the caveat that if you violate probation, you're off, and then that enforcement will be the same thing. A letter goes to the member, borough president, you're off the board. Then it's out of our hands.
And I think the one thing I would wanna add is just like, you know, as we're monitoring it, if we believe you have violated your probation, we will send you a letter. You can contest
That's
if
what
there
the
was
due
any
process
inaccuracies of the attendance
Right,
taking.
yeah.
You can respond to that, and then once we certify, yes, this is in fact the attendance by the secretary, then it's done. You know, and that's the way I think you take care of the
And-
due process on that part of it. It's like, yeah, we'll make sure there were no mistakes in the attendance taken. But then at that point, the letters get sent and it would be done.
and then, and everyone gets 2 probation.
I like that idea.
And that's it.
That was good. That's cool.
How you use it, you wanna use them all in the beginning, and then
So I like the idea of making a bylaw, but there's timeframes of bylaws, right? Like, so my idea is because we should have this in starting September. If we're gonna start everything, let's start it together. And then if we do a bylaw, we got the time, we gotta vote, blah, 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 blah. Now it's 28. But still, if we don't do it this month, by the time we do it next month, you guys meet after full, but you won't have it in for September. You
I mean,
guys,
we don't need to do a bylaw, if it could
we can
just
make it a
be-
bylaw down the road if we want. So
We
I think
can,
a resolution-
you guys can make it here is what I'm saying.
we can have the language by next month's meeting,
Take it.
we can vote on it by next month, cause we understand what the
And June will give us.
Then you gotta then we gotta change the schedule.
what the ground.
Or then we're gonna have to either meet in the summer, which well, because you guys meet after full board. So if you do it next month, we can't vote that in until
Or
September.
you mean or we can vote to adopt it as
We
like
can vote to
the
adopt it today,
standing rules of
Yes.
this
we
committee.
can vote to adopt it today,
And then put it in full
and then
board.
just do the language for full board.
You can do that.
Because you're absolutely, I keep forgetting that this committee meets after, it throws me off, it throws me off a lot.
Too.
No, wait, you're saying you wanna recommend something to executive,
No,
No,
that executive.
no,
says
no,
bylaw?
no.
no.
You guys are gonna adopt the resolution, which was like your idea.
Oh, a sample text of the resolution.
So basically tonight you're gonna vote on that, we're gonna agree that there will be a probationary period. This will be a new process. Just do that because you guys are gonna have time, right? In the meantime, we'll work on it. You guys all have something in an email, you'll all work on it. When you guys are all like, that is it. We'll present that to full board for the vote in
June.
Yep, yeah, and actually in your committee, you could, yeah, exactly. That way come September, it's in.
So what we're saying is we are gonna have the full board approve,
By that time, we'll have the language, no,
Concept,
no,
well, probation.
by then it won't be.
with the rules,
What the rules for.
which you guys will be doing.
And then
In the
say,
meantime.
like, outline bullets as.
Yeah. So like, my advice to you guys is we meet on Tuesday, try to have that like the middle of the week before the full board meeting down, like you guys have it
You say
final.
Tuesday the 26th?
Full board's early, it's like the 16th.
But is the executive going to?
No, we're not gonna do anything about it. I want you guys, because you know what, if we keep doing that, then I agree, what is the point of you guys? You guys can make this decision. I don't even wanna talk about this at executive. You guys, make your motion. You make your motion, you guys work on it as a group, you give it to me, what is it, June, when do we meet at full board?
So we got to be careful because when we talk about this in full board, in the
17th,
past,
I think it is.
we said that board oversight makes recommendations to executive. So if we're taking a different route where we're doing the motion and we're deciding for presentation.
Okay, we can do
That's a
that.
little bit different
You're right.
than us giving executive the recommendations.
I'll tell you what, that's a good thing. So make it here, we'll rubber stamp it next week, and then you guys do the thing. All right?
So it gets presented to you guys.
Let's,
No,
We can figure that out later.
We'll
So
figure it out.
here's, let's just, and
We'll make it a
let's,
motion.
cause if we're gonna do this, we gotta do it, time's
Right.
ticking, right?
Nick-
And Nick came starts at 8,
Yes.
so that's not fuck around. Very
That's what I'm saying.
Resolution, my apologies, all right. Roughly what I have. To implement a probationary period for any member that had an attendance issue. Following bullet points. If failed, automatic removal, maximum 2 probationary periods. Whatever time. Anything else that we wanna add? And again, this is just bullet points. We will have the language prior to.
So what we're making is the rules of probation. And I'm suggesting what the resolution to do it would look like.
Can you
Can you do it?
Expound on that?
Yeah, so I'm
Really
saying,
complicated.
so it's, so what is, we need to set rules of the due process
Right.
around probation. And then what exactly the resolution, if someone's getting probation, it's like a map, right? It's like their name and the dates that they missed,
Mhm.
right? But the resolution is already written, so people can see that it's including language like the removal is automatic.
You mean like what we serve them when this?
But based on what you've been saying, we need to write that up.
Yeah.
So that people can actually see the process.
Right, because in the end,
Yes,
because it's about removing someone.
right. And
If we're recommending probation, it can't stop here. Because we want probation to eventually mean someone gets removed. So we need probation to be ratified by the full board.
That's what
So, right, but I'm saying I want the full, not just the idea of probation, but
Right.
for a
Okay,
specific.
I don't think you're
person.
understanding, Derek. Let me pause.
No.
Let me pause you for a second, please. What we're doing now is we're going to do the concept here. Prior to full board, it will not be a concept. It has to be a complete
But I think that's what he's
resolution.
saying too.
No, I understand, but then we're repeating each other, because right now, we don't want to repeat each other right now. I want to have, if we're going to do it now because of the timing, because we do meet after full board, we have to do this now. So what I'm saying is, this is our current resolution. I'm gonna repeat it. To implement a probationary period for any member that's had an attendance issue with bullet points. If you fail the probationary period, it's an automatic removal. You can get a maximum of 2 probationary periods during your life, whatever that language will be. What else do you want to add to it? So that we have a rough understanding of what the resolution.
So I think what Derek is then saying, okay, so if somebody now has reached this, right?
Mhm,
The process is we vote in full board, right, to put this person on probation.
correct.
That this person being on probation and failing to meet the requirements of the probation at the end of it, or whatever period, will be removed
Correct.
automatically, right?
Automatic.
And that's what he's saying.
Yeah. If
We should
it says,
make it,
I put it, one of the bullet point is, if failed, it's an automatic removal. That's why we're voting it at full board.
Right, but I think it's also making sure that people understand themselves that
They're gonna
I'm voting here right now to remove you, but I'm not, right? Because that's all the.
Yeah, that's what
the
makes it nice.
psychological
And it's
game
just
with
like
this.
how the chair has insisted correctly, that anything that gets voted on at a full board meeting, the letter exists, right? Like, we're not just voting for a letter of
Right.
support. What does the letter of support actually say?
Failure to.
I'm saying, we have the rules of probation, but also, and this is
Right.
exactly when you vote to put a Dembria on probation, this is what that's gonna look
happens.
like. You're gonna put his name here, you're gonna list what dates he was absent here, and that's it, and
Like
that's.
their summons.
And that's what the full board
And,
is
and
gonna,
then the terms, you have to meet, like you said, what,
yes.
3/4 or whatever it is.
Cause we've discussed this.
I like that though,
Yeah.
because you know what, the less confusion, the easier it is to enforce.
Especially with questions that come up.
Yeah.
every month.
Clarity is always
They
good.
didn't like my email.
Just clarity.
Maximum 2 probation periods
Same deal.
during the active appointment.
During your appointment.
I think if you write up, you know, and then.
Something.
Whereas,
Yeah.
This is light years ahead of what we've been
During
doing.
during the life of your appointment, like you said.
Yeah, this is light years ahead of what we've been doing. Is it gonna be perfect? No, but this is so much better. It removes this stressor of voting people directly off. It'll be effective. It gives people second chances without them wondering if they'll get it.
Do we have any other bullets? Cause right now we have 2. And again, if the language will work on it, we'll forward to everyone. We have the If you fail probation, it's an automatic removal. You get a maximum 2 probation periods during the life of your appointment. Those are like our 2 main points as of
Right,
far.
and the definition of what constitutes an absence.
And
Well,
this
we already
probationary period is in
took care
effect
of
for
that.
this period.
No more excuse,
No,
that
no,
language
right.
is.
I would add it as almost like an executive summary or something onto that, because you're gonna have new members.
But
So
that's
for
what he
instance,
said.
That's
That's what Derek said.
you know,
Yeah,
You
like,
should also put the
I was
time for
late
the
for the
period. This
first time.
probation period begins
years.
and ends.
and like if you were absent and you said, oh, but I was there, you're like, you were
Whatever
absent because you
period.
were 35 minutes late to that meeting, you know what I mean? So just-
We said 6 months.
6 months.
6 months was the probation. So the probation period is 6 months.
Now, the
The
question
current
on the
probation-
probationary period though is,
I think should-
but we make it stricter. That's the next question. I think the probation period needs to be stricter than the 6 months. So then
Yeah.
I'll come back to what David's saying, because if they're gonna do bad, David, they're gonna do bad right away, gonna vote them off. It doesn't,
Right.
if they hit it in 3 months, they're off. So I think,
So then we have to see that.
yes.
That would be, and that's why I think the resolution, what it would
I
look like should
agree,
be
but then we have
streamlined.
different, then we go.
No,
back to
no,
the
this
probation.
period will last for this
You've
period,
already,
right?
they've already. been-
Unless you continue to miss sessions.
Oh, yeah,
right?
you missed sessions.
And
If
then
you
it
missed the
will
first 3
begin-
sessions, we're
Right.
here.
And so we have to state that.
Because think of it like
I
this,
mean, I don't know if we wanna overcomplicate. I know what you wanted, what you're saying.
Yeah,
I
but
just
if you
think
don't,
that
put- you
6
don't wanna
months-
leave.
No, what we're saying is, what Adam is saying
But
is that if we
because
make
they-
it even
because they-
stricter,
you don't need
But
to
you mean-
meet the 6 months.
No, no.
no
but-
one's saying
Sure,
that.
that's
No,
fine.
no.
But you're
My-
saying.
We're not debating that.
We don't
No,
want
no,
to get rid of the work, so
question.
like,
I need
continue to do it for
clarification.
future questions.
So I'm asking for clarification.
And then we'll look at
I-
it.
I'm an old member,
Okay.
doesn't matter my status, but I know that you mentioned that.
You hit probation.
And I hit probation.
Cool.
And now.
You start in
you're like,
September.
Well, no, I can be considered for probation. I've messed up my attendance. What does that look like for me? I get called in and whatever, and you tell me I'm put on probation. Now you're telling me I have 6 months to continue to mess up? Or can I not miss 3 months? Because if I have to be here for 3 months in succession, then my probation period should be 3 months.
So what I,
I don't know, that's why I'm trying
yeah,
to figure
so
out the
let's
6
say,
month thing.
so let's say it's 6 months.
Cause
And
then
that
what would the
means-
second probation be? Another 6 months? That's a whole year.
So if it's 6 months, that
Uh-huh.
means when you miss 3 meetings, you're done.
You're done.
So if you miss, so let's say your probation starts in January, we brought you in December, right? We said we're gonna do this, your probation starts in January. You miss January, February, March, you're done. Because it's impossible in the next, even if you showed up to the next 3,
You already
Meetings.
missed, you hit the 3.
you can't get to
You
the
can't get 4.
2/3 president. So you don't have, in fact, the longer you make it,
The more you give them a chance to mess up.
exactly, so if you have to be on probation for a full year,
Harder.
then at any point, if you miss
3
3 in a
months.
row, you're done. So it's funny, you think, it's like, making the probation period longer actually holds them to it for longer.
That's you didn't have probation.
Versus if it's only a 3-month period, oh, I showed
Short
3 in a
probation's
row,
good.
I'm good. Now I'm out of probation, I got another 6 months to.
That's why I thought that 12 months was the key. You give them probation a year. You give them probation a year, so it's longer and it's more.
It's funny, longer is
it's
actually.
No, we're gonna put you right back on.
Cause as soon as you hit the 2 things.
No, because if you hit it in 2 months, if you hit it in that,
That point, right?
the longer it is, the harder it is for you to get out of it.
So what we're doing
If you
here,
make a mistake, let's say you missed the last 3 months, you were good for the first 9.
You know, you missed probation, right? But again,
why are we, okay, can I say something?
3 months.
We're doing what many people have been guilty of, which is a group of people, this specific group of people have always been very dedicated and show up, and we are banging our heads to the requirement of this board is not that much to begin with. The fact, and I'm gonna go one step further, the fact that the only thing we measure a performance on of a board member is whether they show up or not is an issue in and of itself.
It is showing.
Because there should be a productivity level of you should be removed, you haven't done anything in 6 months. How
We
about
just
that?
want participation.
Exactly. I've been yelled at for saying about a participation trophy, stop when you're, grow up. My point being this, We're sitting here jumping through hoops. We're giving you a probationary period. We're giving you a second chance. We're not asking you to be 100%. You're asking you to 2/3. That is 66%. In anything in life that is barely passing, why can't we just do one? I mean, if you're bad again, go. Like, why are we holding on so hard to keep people here?
So you're saying one probationary period per
One,
year?
let them go. No, one.
Forever. You
Let
can,
them-
you
You
can,
just get one.
you can say you are on probation for the rest of the time you are on the
That's it.
board. And if at any point
You're
you
off.
trigger
You're
the
off.
2/3 again, you're off.
And here's the saving grace. You can get yourself out of trouble, right?
Come.
And you just, let's say you're at 2, and then you show up in a few, those
6
2
in a
get
row.
wiped off because that was the last 6 months. So if you behave kind of, you give yourself that reprieve. And so we don't make it stricter, we leave it the same, we keep it consistent. But you guys all have great attendance, and you're sitting here worrying about future members. Let them commit, let them know what they're signing up for. When they come in day one, you go, here, board oversight, this is what's expected of you. They won't know any other way. They won't know any other way. It's like the allegory of the cave, right? You show them that, and that's what they know. And that's it. The hardest part's gonna be this transition with the existing members. I have no worries about the new members. It's harder to teach people who've been around new things. It's easy to teach new people new things. That's all they know. I think we go that way. That's me, but it's your call. I'll honor whatever this committee sends. The executive will honor it, but that's my suggestion at this table.
The fact that it's a rolling 6 months, and if you have a tough
Sure, you can
months,
get
you
yourself
can
out of it.
just get yourself out of
If
it.
it's a year
before it.
probation.
Because it's not this whole, we're going all the
Again,
way
too
back. to the
complicated.
beginning of time.
It's too
Yeah,
complicated.
that's a good point, that's a good, and then in some ways, it's easy to track, because we just have to know, were you ever put on probation? That's it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a thing.
One
Always been
probationary-
stricter than me.
Yeah, no, I like having 2 probation periods. I think in 8 years, and if you have attendance issues twice in 8 years, it's a reasonable amount of time. 8 years is not a small amount of
But
time.
there's sometimes people have legit stuff, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Medical or family things, and again.
I got brought in once when my daughter was born. My first, and certain complications. I
But
brought
I
in,
think.
and I said,
recognize those things,
and I
right?
haven't been,
Speak with
I haven't
people.
brought in.
It's still the process. We still would bring them in, speak with them, and
you
work
could-
with them to try and.
And it goes the other way too. We could decide to say, I know another one of our concerns are the new members who have no intentions of being on the board.
Right.
Right? They applied, whatever, they get appointed, they
Gotta
don't
weed 'em out
realize, they
quickly.
don't wanna be, we gotta move them off as quickly as possible. So, but that's part of the discretion to say.
You don't have to
this
give
person-
probation.
You
That's
don't
the
have
other
to
thing.
probation,
We have
right?
to put that option in, that probation isn't mandatory. We can just vote them off.
And it's like when the people come in and we say, look, can you recommit? And if the answer is no, then we can say probation's not right for you. You just told us you can't.
Well, you
recommit
are.
to this board.
They'll implement a non-mandatory.
It's not. The flip side, you can say, you know what, give it to them, because they're not gonna
Probationary
go
period.
2 more months and then they're just gone after that. But I think we should make it as part of the process is offering, this isn't working, it's not the right time in your life to be on the board. Why don't you choose to step down? We can have in there what conditions they can come back as a public member. I think that would be good to include.
Okay, but I think that
Because it's all about the approval
Yes.
process that we
Yeah.
want to create for ourselves.
I think there's an assumption that people are gonna apply for 4 terms or 8 years. I think that you shouldn't look at it that broad. I think that, most people just are not like the people at this table. Some people will apply for 1 term, not like it, or 2 terms max. We're gonna do 2 probationary periods. Just putting it in the language that, it has to be like an active membership, like you could do the same thing technically with the new members. If you are a new member, if you've been appointed from the time to appointment and you have excessive absence, more than 3 absence in a row, whatever, I mean, I don't know if you're gonna do that, but then that can be an automatic vote off too.
And we've also looked at it as like the full board is one category, and then the committees is another. do they need to be separate? Can it be 2/3
The
of all
Monroe
meetings?
President's
you're supposed to
website
attend?
mentions both.
You know,
I
Right.
expect it to be at
Like,
least.
but
up
we
to
can
the
add them all
committees.
together, that's one thing, the other one is like, it is different for somebody who is missing all of a single committee, but is showing up to everything else, right? Who is showing up only to the full board and none of their committees, like, there's a lot of.
That's already been, that's
Right.
already, no, I
Right.
disagree, because that's already established, like, full board is one, your responsibility is full board and the committee, like, let's just not, this is where we overcomplicate things.
Mhm.
We already have that established. It's full board, 2/3 of full board, 2/3 of your committees.
So do you think, like, where attendance is low, like on somebody, like you just gave an example? Maybe that one committee that their attendance is low is really no interest. And I think if we make people join committees that they have no interest, could impact, right? And maybe, I've often said, look, why don't you be just a public, or why don't you attend as a board member, but not as a committee member? So that your attendance doesn't affect, but then on the meetings you attend, you can participate. Like, we never let a board member not participate who's not part of a committee, right?
So to that end, we had the discussion, which we brought up here before, about instead of, which is was that our choice of 2 committees or 1 committee?
It was, I think it's always been.
We had
Whether
we
it's
had
practice
spoken
or-
about it being like, instead of being mandatory 2, it could be mandatory 1. We spoke for Angel. He didn't love it, but he didn't hate it either. Because you'd rather have one person who's very passionate about one and like hates everything else.
One, they're gone.
And it's easier and it's actually stringent.
No, I know, but like, again, are we also setting up for a certain kind of failure with somebody that I have no interest, but I have to attend to? And I go if I go, if I don't go, I don't go.
Well,
And then the conversation should be, I'm sorry, Russell, is, why don't you just attend when you can? And join online, but not be a member that affects attendance.
It's always been,
The charter doesn't.
it's never been stated that you're joining the board to make a contribution.
Of the charter.
So you have to join a committee, either you're in a learning process for a part of it, to make a contribution. It's not just to sit in a meeting.
Right.
I'm coming to every board, I'm coming to every committee meeting, I'm coming to every board meeting, and I'm not contributing a damn thing.
Yeah, you might as
So
well not
you're
come.
being interviewed by the council and then being interviewed by the borough president. Why are you selected? Because you're bringing something to the table. If you're bringing something to the table, these are the 9 committees. Where could you make your best contribution? Where's your part where you're interested in something? Because I don't want to be in anything in education technically. Where else do I want to go to land use now because I want to learn about land use, but I'm bringing a set of skills. Once I learn that, I'm gonna make a contribution to it. But that's what we need, contributors, not just people who just in attendance. It's never spoken about that way.
But you're right about what you're saying, but technically, every board member who picks a committee or should pick a committee that they're interested in. The problem has been when there's a date that doesn't match what their schedule is. And so then they end up selecting something else. And then it's at the discretion of the chair based on the amount of seats or however big he wants the committee to then do assignments. So, you're gonna be.
I bet that's the
So
part of
we can-
when the meetings actually are happening, which day of the month, and that prevents some people from maybe participating when they want to participate.
You join the
Alright.
board, you almost.
I wanna get,
Just like-
sorry, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
that's-
let's just get back on track, because we're getting into the weeds of things. Now, if this is not a bylaw, which is not the direction we're looking at, we can change this as we go along. We can perfect this, right? We will have something in the beginning, which we're gonna put together tonight, and we will have it more detailed by full board, so we can vote on it. But as a resolution, this committee can alter it as we see fit moving forward, and we will probably have to. What I don't want us to do is get caught into every little detail of every little, like dot every little I, because then we start like, kind of falling, and then nothing gets done. So currently, our resolution is to implement a probationary period, a non-mandatory probationary period for any member that has had a attendance issue. So far, we have 3 bullet points. It failed. It's an automatic removal. You get a maximum of 2 probation periods during the life of your appointment, and it's a 6-month probationary period. So we need to agree on these like primary things, and as we see fit, we will make changes. If we notice that there's a mistake, happy. And what's nice about it is it's not a bylaws. We don't need to do this 30 days and letters and all these other things. We just kind of like make these changes as we go along.
That's perfect. I don't wanna be the, pain, but there's one issue that I have still with the two. I agree with it if we were all starting from 8 years clean. There are people here who have 3 years left. You're gonna give them 2 probationary periods in 3 years?
But you know what, it's all gonna wean out, it's all gonna
I
wean out
know,
over
but
time.
unfortunately, we're gonna have to sit here and watch this.
No,
I don't think-
then you have to, I would say.
You guys, no, you will.
You're right.
I would say at that point, don't give them that, they get half.
Well, it's you know what, you're, no, let me
Remember,
rephrase it.
it's not mandatory.
It's not mandatory. You know what? That's beautiful.
Not
That's
mandatory.
good. You're right, not mandatory.
We don't
can
have to
factor
give this
that in.
probationary period. That's why we put
We can
that back.
factor that in. Okay, good.
So if we gave one probation and we decided not to give the other one, again.
Good
that-
idea. There you go.
that goes.
Thank
So
you.
you're gonna say at the discretion of the
Yeah.
board, a second probationary period may be,
At a discretion, yep.
may
You know, again,
be given based on extenuating circumstances, blah, blah, or something.
continue failure to adhere to the
Is
policy
an
and
automatic
procedure will
expulsion.
result in leaving, additional probationary period or additional
I would,
leading up to termination.
I
That's
would
it.
say something
Come on.
different. I would say you only qualify for that if you, at the beginning of your term. If you beyond that, it doesn't exist anymore, it erased. So you only have
I
that,
thought about that. That's a good.
it's only,
How many old
it's,
people would it really?
it doesn't matter. It wouldn't matter because you already, you don't qualify for it anymore.
He's saying like,
At the extra
Something the
stuff,
first 6 months of
What
the
are we at
term.
now?
yeah.
he's saying like
I'm
if
gonna
you
do-
were,
I'm gonna do better, Tim.
you know what? I hear you, but I hear you. I actually like that. But I guess since it's not non-mandatory, the board has enough bandwidth, but like this member has 3 years, they were given probation, within the 3 years, we're not giving them another probation for their last 3 years. You're getting voted off now.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to have some faith that we can make the right decision.
In those 3 years, will most likely be like
What I
most
mean.
of this group, so I don't see that being an issue. You guys have another year.
And then we go.
I think the 3 of us term out
He's
together. 3 of us term out together, to be
We'll
30,
we'll be public.
and then Derek stays longer than us.
Derek's probably longer.
So I think this framework is good to start. All right, I think this is a good framework to start in the committee and allows us to do the work. And again, since it's a resolution, we can change this as we go along. Most of the time, like the full board, when it comes from the committee, they don't, it's not as problematic.
The bylaws do say 2/3, so that if you say as outlined in the bylaws, you don't have.
We don't even have to, everything we follow is by law. We don't have to mention it, because if we mention it now, we're like, it's just.
It's gonna be asked.
Yeah, then they're like, oh, but where? No, then we refer to the bylaws. So if we're good, can I have someone make this motion to adopt this resolution so that we can get the language? No, here, you can read it then.
I make a motion to adopt a resolution to implement a non-mandatory probationary period for any member that has had an attendance issue, a failed and automatic removal, potential maximum of 2 probationary periods during the life of the appointments, and the probationary period may extend to 6 months, period.
Second.
David seconds, we're gonna do a vote, all in favor?
Going out.
Aye.
Aye.
Everyone said aye, so, okay. No president voting, anyone against, any abstentions? Ayes have it. All right. Then we'll work on that. We'll make sure to forward it to the committee prior to the, and I don't wanna wait. We should probably have this by the first week of June. So that everyone can be like very comfortable. I don't wanna wait until like too close to a full board.
So then are we giving that to executive before we give it to full board?
We'll vote on-
Executive
We'll just support this next week,
Okay.
Cause it'll be voted on.
because it'll be before the next time. Yeah, so we'll just vote on it next week and then it can go to full.
Okay.
Full board.
I mean, you don't have to vote on it at executive. We don't need a vote at
I was
executive.
gonna ask you, I keep going over it.
17.
We don't need a vote at executive. It would just go to full board.
Well, I said that, but Nilsa made the point
Because you said it, that this would be a purely
But
advisory
you're,
board to come up with an
no,
recommendation
I
for
think,
you.
I think it's, we're mistaken something. What we said initially is when we are removing someone.
You know what? He's
We
right.
didn't, this is a committee. We are making a resolution. Any resolution from a committee goes to full board, not to executive.
No, we had said it, you're right. We had said it, you're
The
both right.
confusion is the attendance.
No, you're both
So
right.
like Jessica Morris, we did the recommendation here, it was sent to executive. It will be brought up at executive
Because
next week.
executive has to do
Then-
executive
And
session.
now moving forward,
Put it here.
if the chair decides that we can do it here, then we do it here, and we say that to the full board, so the full board is aware.
Well, and if
But
I,
they are separate initiatives, right? Like we can, this
No, right,
committee has the
they're different.
ability to make letters of support, to make this, to make that.
well, so I think we changed it. You're right, no, so originally we said everything here would have to get ratified executive. We've now said, I think I came in one meeting and everybody was upset and I was like, okay, you guys.
Okay, yeah, I just don't want pushback from people that have heard things.
I will make a
Different
comment at
things.
executive, that executive does not need to ratify these decisions, so we
Yeah.
are not doing that, and it stands for board oversight, and it will be going to full board.
So is there-
I wouldn't make the statement unless someone brings it up.
You're not
And the
gonna
reason I'm
listen to somebody-
saying that is because should you say that, you put things in people's minds. As a committee, right, the
But what if
committee's
they bring
coming
it
up
up
with
at full
something.
board?
No,
Shocking.
let's wait and Jose should present this as executive. We have a resolution that we're gonna present to the full
Good,
board,
good idea. Yep.
right? And then, there'll be people there, Derek and everything like that, who can, if there's history that's needed based on why this, and this is going to be sent as a motion to the full board. And then if there's any things that you think need to be added or not, then that's your time. But I wouldn't say that because there are people who are gonna jump on that.
And I think it is fair to people that inquire about bylaws, like, do they have to change? What does it mean?
Okay.
And I think that is just saying, like, we're talking about setting up the standing rules of the board oversight committee regarding removals. And just deciding on the rules, like, as long as they follow the bylaws, we can do that as a committee. And then we wanted to share that with the full board so that there was, since we're acting on the full board's behalf to make the recommendations around this process, we want to make sure they agree what we say. And I think the resolution can also include that that this is part of the September and and all of that kind of stuff. So people can know when it's gonna happen and that they could give feedback on changing it. And like Jose said, that yes, that we can change it as we're going. If you feel like something wasn't clear, we have to adjust something because it isn't bylaws.
Question, and I'm not gonna ask any more questions. Would it make sense to say a minimum of a 6-month period? Or a length determined by blah, blah? Like suppose how there was like the discussion of a year and 6 months or whatever. Should there be something at a minimum of a 6-month period, or just leave it like
Where
that?
are we at?
You mean the term of probation?
Yeah, the term of probation, a minimum of 6
I
months.
think you just make it 6 flat.
Just leave it flat, okay.
I hear what you're saying, but yeah,
Again,
could change it
we
down the
can
road.
make changes, so like, we don't have to, like, unlike a
No, let's just
bylaw,
present it.
it's very like, bylaws are very stringent, and as they should be.
This summer, though, you should, as a committee, when this is voted in and with the new rules in September, send an email with everything in one email. It does not have to, it should come from Jose with NOSA as a chair and vice chair of this committee, telling everybody, this is all rolling out. This is what's been discussed, but here's your packet. New members, old members, there's no you have questions, ask them now, because come September, this is the balls, it should
Should we
go.
throw an orientation or something with?
Right, but that's only for the new members. The old members are gonna be, the ones that.
No member orientation, always invite the existing members to get a
But they may
refresher.
not come.
Just invite them to the opportunity to get a refresher.
Of course I will, but they don't come to meetings they're supposed to come.
We're not-
But then
just-
it's good, that's
I will,
council's information.
But my point being this, if it's optional and they don't come, they'll say they never heard it. So we will invite them, but we have to send something that they cannot say they didn't get.
No.
That's all I'm saying. I agree.
They're invited to come, required to know it.
Well, I know.
Invited to come, required to know whatever the orientation
And
is.
maybe-
Worst time for me, because they'll listen to you, they ain't gonna listen to me.
And if you really want to get technical,
Yeah.
you can always send the email with everything the way Jose is gonna do. And invite and send the link to the website where that will be posted on the member resources. So they can just click on the link. They can't say that it's not there. To familiarize them. Okay, well, it sounds like that's done.
All right. We have three things left on the,
Mhm.
one of them is, all three are, take that back. Everyone was given our current grievance procedures, which is our logic chart. We were giving the review process for it. I need everyone to send me notes on. I need everyone to take a moment. Like from here to next month, by next month, we have to put all these three in place so that we can show it to everyone. And mind you, we will meet after full board, which means that we will really be showing everyone in September. Right, which we still have time to work on it and tweak it in the summer, but I need everyone to give me notes on those, on the grievance procedures, the quarterly review process as well. The orientation and training is something we can discuss now because we said we're gonna do for next month, our committee will do a mock set. Hopefully by then, these individuals will know, we'll be able to get a few of them here. If not, we may have to do something in July, depending on everyone's availability. We can try to do something, right? Yeah, unfortunately, I'm around too. So again, I wish I had a more fun. My daughters will be in California, but I'll be around. And my in-laws only get to see them then. So I think it's important, so I need that work for that quarterly review, that grievance. I'm gonna work on it to make, particular grievance was like a rough draft, make the lettering a little bigger, but the process of it, and what thoughts you have, please send it to me by email. You can respond all, so we can all see, or if you want to just send it, however you want to do it, as long as you send it to me, because we need to get, I need your input. Need your input in this, and as you know, we can do it, we can't do that here, because it would take us too long, right? It's already 8 o'clock and we discussed 2, 3, these are very important things that we're doing. These are things that are gonna shape how this board functions, so we do have to take the time to, do it correctly. Now for next month, we are going to pass a couple of these things, and for the orientation and training, we would, because we would start doing the quarterly reviews in September. That's why we want to have it in place by. Obviously, the new members, that's different. They don't really have to pay much. They haven't been on any committees yet. But the other members can start saying and it'll be good input. It's always good input to have, see how that leadership is doing. Because what we have to remember is this process is something moving forward. Our current chair has been going to every single committee, but that's not something that's normal, right? Not, most chairs don't have that ability to do something like that. So what we have to do is, by having this kind of quarterly review process, it gives the committee members a chance to kind of voice how they're being treated, and sometimes even the chair himself, if he has members that are really not contributing, and no one asks him directly, you don't always go out of your way to be this person isn't contributing, right? But in this process, you do it every 4 months or every 3 months, and we'll see if we want to do it every 3 months, or if we want to do it every 4 months. It could be 3 times a year instead of 4. That's another process that we can take, so we can establish all of that. But I do need your input, because it's it's going to be something that helps to shape this board. So now for orientation and training, which we decided next month, we said we're gonna do mocks. All right, we kind of establish how far we're gonna do that. We're not gonna do resolutions or things of that nature, but voting, how you vote or how you stand up to support for a vote. A lot of people come in, they haven't had, not just this board, they haven't sat on any board. They don't know when they're shy to even raise their hand and ask questions or give a statement. And, you know, currently, me and David are the longest standing members, consistent members. But you know, that's not gonna be something that's possible. You get 8 years. You get 8 years. So you don't get 3, 4 years to kind of like wake up and kind of like sort yourself out. We want to train these people from a very early start so that they can get engaged within the first year. They should be starting to get engaged. And if they're even thinking of doing leadership, you know, by second, third year, you're really like having to like really think about these things. Before, you can be here forever, take your time and do as you please. Russell?
I'm just saying that as long as we welcome them and encourage that they're valued as soon as they come here.
That's the point.
And we want this, if they can step up, we have some people that could be coming, could be leaders. It's just, as long as we embracing,
That's the goal.
as long as we embracing friendly, welcoming and all that kind of stuff, it'll work.
The goal is to get them informed on a sooner end. And hopefully by the year 1, year 2, they feel comfortable at the very least to run a committee, to do things. Because I do think you need experience to be like in the higher leadership position. Like if you've never been chair of a committee, then I don't feel like you should have any business trying to be the chair of the community board. But you know, you need a track record.
Need to get the information.
But you need, and this is the way to do it. And we will, again, like our purpose into this committee isn't just to remove people. It's gonna be much more than that. It is to make sure that the membership feels comfortable, that the membership is being helped, and like that is the goal overall. By removing people, it also helps the board. And we have to, unfortunately, that is an added benefit. Because when you don't have quorum, when you have all these issues, when the committee's not getting done, and like Echo Dove had to wait 30, 40 minutes to start last night, it's a problem. But then the work is not getting done. And typically, because the chair extended it, but the process is 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Are we about to extend? I mean.
No, I didn't extend it.
No, not him. We're talking about the committee chair.
No, but
Because I've had,
It was 15. They did the 15.
but they didn't stop it at the 15, or they?
No, they got it in within.
Oh, within the
They
15.
did.
I've extended it sometimes. I've had a full presentation
Get them packed.
No, I know.
Packed house
You don't want to.
in public safety. And what am I gonna,
Right.
I had to call and she's like, I'll be there in 10 minutes. I had to wait. So,
I forgot to bring this up, and it's relevant to mention it here first. I spoke to the Borough President's Council today. There's full expectation that the governor will extend the hybrid meetings. Yeah, right, as we all, hybrid meetings, right? It sunsets on July 1st. They're gonna extend it. He said, this is what they do, they wait. So that brings us into thing. I'm strongly considering, and I will decide sooner rather than later to give people time. But I believe the only real exception is supposed to be if you have a medical, a disability that does not allow you to be present here. That's what we've been doing, and we've been doing it on the honor system. And I don't know, my guidance, even from the Borough President's office, was like, you should have some kind of documentation. But I said, I'm not comfortable with knowing people's personal situations. So if we do it, this is how we'll do it. It would only go to Angel and me. And it would be no details. You would simply need your medical, your doctor, whatever, to say so-and-so has a disability, and they will not be able to go to meetings for this period of time. Done. I don't need to know what you have, why you have, that's it, just proof from it, because otherwise there is strong feelings, I think, among members that some may be using the form inappropriately in terms of using it when it maybe really wouldn't be needed to be used. So, you know, I think we all have access to a medical, and if we don't, we can address those instances where somebody has a difficulty for a valid reason why they would not be able to get that letter. We can consider that. But otherwise, last night, I'll just give you guys an example to tell you why. Not only did we not have quorum, we had 2 people in the room that were from the committee, even when we had quorum. 2 people.
I mean, more of the people.
Like everybody was online. And, you know, let's speak generally speaking, like, can we just be frank here? I mean, is it okay? Because that's how I am. And I don't know what people's things are, but you will see someone out, and then the next day they're not at the meeting, and then the next day they are at a meeting, and then sometimes you could tell when you're looking that they are somewhere else. They are not home or not somewhere. They are just at something else. We've seen it. We've heard it. And so that's not fair to people who show up. That's not fair to people who show up when they're sick, when their leg hurts, when this hurts, and they're still coming in. And so, you know, I think I'm strongly leaning towards enforcing that. It won't be the most popular decision that I make, but there needs to be, I don't know if the honor system's working.
I think there's some boards that don't do the meetings online at all.
So I asked that question just
I
to
think
see.
you have to give it.
You
as an
have to
option.
give it as an option. It goes beyond this law. It is a law, and I'm okay with that. I am. Want to be mindful. People can contribute remotely now that they have your camera on and this and that. But there needs to be just a sign off from a doctor, something that says that. That's it. I don't want to know what you have, what your condition is, just this, the time frame. If it's permanent, we may ask you to renew it in 6 months. If it's time frame, then you'd have to get it updated by your doctor. That's it. And, you know, because otherwise it is not fair to everybody.
So just, I know that in the past, I know of people who've, let's say, have the flu or have a cold, and they've been advised by the doctor, let's say, not to go in, you know, because it's communicable.
You're in
Right.
antibiotics. and-
Or in terms of stuff like that, is there some guidance that the Manhattan Borough President is willing to put to support your position? You know what I mean? Like something there, like when my.
We can shape that.
You know what I mean?
We can, so I think that's in our purview.
Okay,
That's an easier one, because if you have that, if you're getting
You have a
antibiotics,
doctor.
you went to see a doctor.
right, but what happens if I didn't? Let's say I just woke up and I felt really sick. And now I'm like, well, you know what?
Disability. See,
Right,
that's.
but people have been
Technically
using
doesn't
it
qualify.
almost as a temporary disability, because it says, and when do you think you're gonna be able to come back?
Yeah.
The cold is not a qualified disability, so maybe what we need,
To
and I
define the
need, is to
definitions.
define what the qualified disability is.
That
I've
Manhattan
been of the
Borough
mind that if
President
you're a caretaker, a primary caretaker, that should extend to who you take care of. I do believe in that. I was told that that's not really correct. We'll get guidance, we'll have a clear definition of it, and then we can move forward.
Take care of sick.
And that's what I believe. So let's get a clear definition, and we can see how much parameter we have, because when we can kind of implement it, but we need something.
Finance. I
We
agree.
gotta be lenient to those who truly need it, but we need to enforce it to those who are
I
abusing
remember
it.
Angie used to get so upset when I used to send in my doctor's notes. You don't have to send it. No.
I'll make you aware, this is my job to handle right now, but I just wanted to make you all aware that that is being looked into, because it does come to the purview of you guys, but I would want to lean on all of you.
Excuse, please. But we can get online, still participate.
No, you could be sick and still be online, people that aren't, and then they have the
Just
cameras off and
You see
everything.
people in their offices.
Yeah.
You know, you see people, you hear people and they're on the bus. And, you know, so it's like you weren't afraid of getting anyone sick on the bus, but you can come to me and get people sick. You know, I mean, I'm just gonna be blunt, like, you know, nowhere else in the
You see
world do
people
you
at
get to operate
galas.
like this.
The gala.
You don't get to operate, you don't get to go to school like this, you don't get to go to your job like this. You know, you come 30 minutes late, you go catch your plane 30 minutes late. You ain't getting on the plane. We gotta look at the greater good of this community board. And then what does that mean? That needs people who show up consistently to do the work.
So what we're in the process of doing is reshaping that, so I want us to carry too much baggage. We're starting something fresh, and let's just do that, and then others will weed their way out. It'll check and balance if we just move forward with that thinking. And read the history.
Paint. Very true paint.
Mm.
I'm gonna work it on paint to make it more clearer. So I'll send you a more clearer version,
Yeah.
but it's more like what I did too, but there were other examples, or if you have you can just tell me notes and I can, but orientation and training is gonna be next month. It's gonna be here. We hope that by then we'll know and that we'll be able to reach them and have them coming. Because that's the other thing, like, what if they get told,
May
I
not
don't
be
know,
able to.
but then we know.
Angel plans to do his, I believe, June first, his new memorial.
That he does.
He asked, mine is gonna be, June twenty-fourth. I'm also gonna throw another party so they can get to meet us in a different context. That'll just be to get to know people and not an intimidating setting. And then you guys have that whole swath of the middle of June to kind of figure it out. So Angel's planning.
When do we
June
meet in
1st.
June?
Angels.
So you're talking,
Angels
meeting
is
with
what?
them on the 25th.
What happens if they're not in by June?
You know, I
1st?
wouldn't hate the idea, that's
Yeah,
actually,
it's
of
fine.
you guys
Or
being
with the
included
next
in
week.
mine.
Yeah, you might have
Running
to.
the, so, like, I'm supposed
Well,
to have.
because we didn't get the applications.
You know,
You're
we
gonna
could
be
do
getting
this,
the applications.
we could do this, Jose, if it helps you guys all out.
What?
If you guys wanna do mine, like in joint one with me also on June twenty-fourth, rather than me just having my own, I'd be willing to like just partner with you guys to have one on June twenty-fourth.
Well, that'll be different because we're trying to do like a different kind of setting. It's a little more relaxed. We're trying to like, well, work, no, that's what you're trying to do. No, that's what you're trying
That's
to
what
do.
I'm gonna throw a
Ours,
party.
yeah, ours is more like the structure
Procedural.
of procedure of how to work, and that's not really gonna.
No, I was gonna do a separate day for the party.
Yeah.
That's what I meant, so like, you could use that day for that, but whatever.
Yeah, no,
This
we
is
meet,
sort of
we
like-
meet the 18th, so we should
Got
just stick to the 18th, and that'll be
Yeah.
right in the middle.
18th.
That's when we meet. It's a Thursday. Right before Juneteenth.
Yeah, no, I know, you know, we got graduation. Shit,
It's gonna
I gotta
be
check
messy.
the date.
Yeah.
I think it's Wednesday graduation.
Yeah, it will be, and again, like, look, if something happens where like, and please let me know, because that's the other thing we've been telling committees. If you really have nothing to meet about, then don't meet. Now, if that is a consistent situation, then you're the problem. Yeah, but if you have a month where, like, let's say everyone here tells me like, and there are a lot of graduations at that point, we can't make it, the other people can't make it, we decide to meet in July instead, I'm all for it. I got no issue with it. That's fine, but we just gotta take that consideration, so look at your calendars, it's the 18th.
I won't be there. That's calm. Sorry.
And if the majority of us are here, then we can like and I'll be honest with you, most of them won't be here either. Because they won't have enough time to really, what if they already had something planned for that day? Because I don't know if I'm on the committee board, I'm planning out my calendar. If I get told June 1st,
So when are they gonna, say next week?
Early next week is what they told us today.
early next week's impossible, it's Memorial Day. It'll be mid
It'll have
next
to be
week.
at least, like, yeah,
Wednesday's off next.
Yeah, it's 2 days off. So right there,
Alright, they'll just send out the letters, they're not gonna call anyone, they're just gonna send out the letters and you'll probably get it. the
and you'll
week
get it
after.
like the week after, which is
That's it.
the first week of June. Which
Yeah.
doesn't give us a lot of time to get them ready to come. Well, you know what? If we get told that none of them can come, then
They're
then
bringing over the Second Avenue Subway Task Force in the summer. I mean,
It will
we're gonna
change.
see how it
Then
gets.
we're going to be flexible in that degree because of the situation. It's also not fair to them.
No.
Because they don't know anything yet. Okay, let's move off of that. Budget request submission forms, that's for. Change that doesn't apply
That
here.
does not apply here.
We don't have any old business, we don't have a new business, we just have regular business. Marlene, could you do the roll call, please?
Jose Morano,
Present.
Rosa Diaz, Ms. Ashton, David Giordano,
President.
Carlos Rama,
Present.
Jorge Schuler,
President, I'm driving, bro.
Derek Santos,
Present.
and Candy
Uh-oh.
Bassett.
Like that.
I'm going to.
All right, we got.
I'm gonna see, I'll let you know
All
where I'm
right,
going.
thank you all, appreciate your time, go Knicks.
Let's go. I'm home registered.